What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nurse Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings, live and direct. Here we go.
Brooklyn's in the house.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
First one's a classic. I didn't think you had that one on you, but okay. All right, I'm with it.
We've gone through a bunch. I probably still have some that I've probably played only once or twice.
Sure. I mean, again, as we have said previously, there's no shortage of Brooklyn shoutouts and songs to choose from. So, you got multitudes.
Yes. Yes. I'm still collecting them,
Oh yeah, there's still some that come up that still pop up. But yes, folks, this is here the Comic Book Chronicles, and you can find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Indeed, and hopefully, and I know what I'm about to do is, there we go. So I can check something. But yes, sweet. All right, but yeah, folks, we are here. We are live, and it is a Thursday, so both things have, generally tend to be true when that's the case. This week, though, after a long time of not having a show to talk about, of which we said we were going to have a few coming up, we are going to start the conversation off with a discussion on Marvel's Wonder Man series that just came out a couple of days ago. No spoilers, of course.
Literally just came out. All 8 episodes in a binge drop.
Mm-hmm.
And kudos to Marvel for kind of figuring out that maybe a shorter episode length is what needs to happen.
Depending on the what the show is, and because there's a couple of them that could have used longer episodes, but yes, in this particular case, it works out definitely well.
Right, because it kind of plays out very much like a sitcom. Like this could have been, 8 episodes of, I hate to say this, Perfect Strangers. This could have been 8 episodes of Bosom Buddies, because it really played out that way. And I really liked the adaptation of the Simon Williams story. This is one of the better Marvel TV shows from Disney Plus or Disney Plus, and I give them a lot of credit for coming up with a good adaptation of the Simon Williams story, because let's face it, another industrialist who gets into weapons making or gets out of weapons making and then, turns into a super powered person because he kind of goes bad, but then goes good. That's a wacky story. Rather, what they did is that they decided to take some focus away from that and basically put an express focus on the acting stuff. And they did a spin on that. And I think that really helped propel this show to a very to a very positive place, a different place, and I overall enjoyed it. So I'm going to hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts, since we're not really doing any spoilers because there's 8 episodes of twists and turns, multiple twists and turns in the story.
Yes, and actually, and on that note, so I wasn't going to do this, but we might as well go run through them. So here is the episode listings, for the episode titles rather. Episode 1 was Matinee. Episode 2 is called Self Tape. Episode 3 was called Pacoima. Episode 4 is called Doorman, and believe me, and that's going to go into something I'm going to talk about in a second, because from the first episode, episode 5 is called Found Footage. Episode 6 called Callback. Episode 7, Kathy Friedman. And episode 8 is called Yucca Valley. So, but yes, as like was Age of 7, I also enjoyed it. It's one of those things where I kind of found myself, like I watched half of them last night. It's episode 8 episodes. So I watched half last night and half this afternoon. And, it wasn't that I almost wanted to kind of go finish the rest of them last night, but I'm not usually a binge watcher, and it was real late anyway. So I was like, you know what? They are bite-sized enough episodes where I can get through a couple of them. So I just kind of have to like that. And it's, that being said, it's a pretty good place if you choose to kind of do that in a way, because with episode 4 is basically, is a callback to something that was just referenced offhand in episode 1, which I don't know if Age of 70 felt the same way, even though we kind of know from talking about it prior to, is we knew who was going to be mentioned or come up in the show. But the way this character, this D-list character, some would say, most would say,
this Great Lakes Avenger
exactly ends up having not necessarily a crucial part, but being kind of important to, a reasoning or a reason that Simon acts the way he is.
He provides a lot of context.
Yes.
To kind of the overall story, to some of the things that are byproducts of a reality, which is like a step away from real world, right? This is our world, but with people with superpowers, and people have had superpowers for many years, right? The Avengers have been around for X number of years. Obviously, we've had Captain America in World War II, and we've had Captain Marvel since the 80s, even though she was was very short-lived. And there have been other kind of superpowered beings, kind of here and there, littering the history of this version of our reality. And it's kind of interesting to see one little side effect of it, how it affects one particular industry.
Some would say in almost a Civil War-like manner, in a way, because if folks may or may not know, Civil War started because of some folks kind of thinking they were doing good and caused a catastrophe along the way. This is a very smaller scale of that, but it kind of affected it in the same way, where it's like, well, we clearly got to make a law or something to deal with something like this.
Right. I mean, all it really did, listen, all it ever really did was prevent the making of yet another Frozen sequel. But, that's a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah, I guess kind of. Although there's been plenty of those in the actual world. So sadly, this came a little too late for that to happen. And actually we'll bring that up in a second also. But that being said, like Age of 70, I did enjoy the thing. They definitely took liberties with Simon's origin story, from away from what Age of 70 had alluded to just a little bit ago. They seem to have made him a mutant. I'll just go ahead and that'll be the one spoiler you get from this.
Right, that's quite possible. That's
Yes.
definitely quite possible. We don't know for sure,
Right.
but that's definitely quite possible.
But the way they played it, it definitely kind of seems that way. And we're also, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this. if you know enough about Wonder Man's history, we're not getting his foil, his usual familiar foil from this. We did, however, and again, this is okay. This is another spoiler. We did get a familiar god awful suit right off the bat, but we didn't get. I was kind of upset that we didn't get original recipe. Not original recipe because that would be another version of the ugly suit. But we didn't get 80s.
Leisure suit.
Yes, we didn't get leisure suits or Wonder Man, and then I was kind of bummed off that. The closer we came,
Listen, I'm a big fan of
the
the leisure suit look.
Me too.
I have the Marvel Legend leisure suit Wonder Man.
I believe I do as well, with the little rocket pack on the side. So, but yeah, we got the ugly green suit from late West Coast
The late
Adventures
80s.
run. Yeah.
The late 80s, 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And also, you know, the one he ended up settling on later on, or a version of the one he ends up settling on, later way. So therein lies that, which I don't know if we have a figure for that one, for the black and red suit, or is it just leisure suit? Because I don't think they did they didn't do the green one, did they? They just did the leisure suit. They just lit.
Oh, you mean Marvel Legends?
Yeah,
yeah. Marvel Legends wise, all we have, I mean, the only costume that they have not yet done is the green and red.
Okay, so they did do the black and
right. They've done
black
They've done the black and the red. They've done black and red. They've done leisure suit.
Right. So, like I said, and the closest we came from that was something. It was kind of something in the end that feel like they kind of evoked it, but it was not there. That being said, though, I'm kind of wondering about some of the liberties that they took with Simon's origin, because I'm not sure. As far as I know, the actor who plays Simon is not of the heritage that they portrayed him to, or not directly. I guess I should say that, but I don't actually know that for certain. And any looking into it, like he's from, he's like from Louisiana. He was born in Louisiana, which could very well be, there's a probably a little bit of a population of folks down there. He could very well be, but nothing I could see to where it's directly said that
There's a particular nationality.
Correct.
And they play on that, and he may very well be descended from that.
Maybe.
But they, but they've definitely adapted a different tone and a different origin for this version of Simon Williams.
Right. And we of course, and folks may or may not know, the return of Trevor Slattery comes up in this as well. So that's not
who kind of makes the show.
Yes.
I hate to say it, he kind of makes the show.
It's kind of a redemption arc for him, actually.
Right. As silly as Trevor Slattery was in Shang-Chi, Sir Ben Kingsley, it does an incredible job in this series as Trevor Slattery. As you said, it's a redemption arc.
Kinda, yeah. And so the only other things to say, like I said, without giving too much of away, is this is definitely a show that I don't want to say it's an action class masked as a show, because I don't know how much of that is in this show is actually good. Any actors would get anything out of, or very much could, depending on, I guess, what your method is. But I feel like that's another thing that it kind of felt like, because obviously, Simon Williams, actor, so there was going to be a lot of that in there, and in that there were a couple of guest spots that I didn't expect. One of which I, again, that if whatever happened to them actually happened, would I wouldn't have any problem with at all.
And there were name drops.
Oh yes,
aplenty during this show. There were, again, I'm a huge fan. Listen, one of the reasons that I was always a bigger fan of the Marvel Universe as opposed to the DC Universe is that the Marvel Universe existed, it was the world outside your window, as Stan Lee put it, right? So, in this universe, in this Marvel Universe, there is a New York Times that people are going to go to get, to read the news and to read, the art section to see what's going on in the arts world, and that, in that particular episode, it was really focused upon one episode, but there were bits of it mixed in around, throughout the second half of the season. It was just it reminded me why the Marvel Universe always touched me in a different. Yeah, it resonated with me far more than the DC Universe ever did.
Yeah, true. And yeah, there's as Marvel tends to do, and as they did in the show, as the New York Times, not just the only thing. Like there are movies that are referenced apparently, and there was a person who I think slight spoiler, but there was a person who guest starred in I think the first episode who was actually in the movie that was being referenced them for being from. And I think that was probably one of the other only times that happened, but I had to go look because I was like, oh, is this actually a person? It's like, I don't know if this person is actually a person, but apparently it was, who was in those movies. So I was like, okay, so that's the thing. So that was the kind of thing I kept doing during the course of the show. It's like, okay, so if they're referencing something, so is this person going to show up, or, is it going to be referenced to something that, a tie to something that they did or something like that, which in another way was, but, or in a couple of ways were, but to a smaller degree. First, shout out to Von Gloom, who is in the chat, who says nationalities. Yeah, who says nationality? Those goddamn Genosians. No, sir. But also asks a question: is Grim Reaper a more extreme Dr. Umar in the Disney Plus show? If you have not watched the show, sir, well, actually, we just answered that question right before you got on. As far as I don't know how long you've been in the chat, but we don't get that. I'm just going to go ahead and just tell you that we don't get any of that. However, I don't know if they do anything with that. Probably still not, honestly, because let's just say the family. There is some the family dynamic is kind of there, just not to that extent.
Right. Just it's not as severe, but you never know what direction they might take.
Exactly, but you could also see it. Like I said, if you know enough about the history, you could see it going there. If it was the case, if they kind of spun in. So that which brings me to another thing, because the way the show ended, and not so much of a spoiler, but it's more like they could do a season 2. Based on what happens at the end, I don't know if they actually will, or if this is going to be a thing. They'll just take this up in Avengers Doomsday, some kind of way. It's kind of
they'll figure out a way. They'll figure out a way, because at the end of the day, what they've got is an interesting tie-in to what we know is going to be the next Marvel movie, right? Not Doomsday, but Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, true. I mean, yeah, I guess there's a way to spin that in there.
Right, no, because we know the connective tissue is kind of the big bad of this 8-episode show. The big bad is the Department of Damage Control.
Right.
We know that Damage Control.
Right.
Right. Damage Control is kind of like the new overarching big bad, at least through a couple of these properties. So, we know they're going to be playing a role in the next Spider-Man.
Which sucks, because I always loved Damage Control, and to see them like this sucks for me. Which actually, it's
an adaptation.
Yes, I know, but still.
Yeah, I know.
But also, actually, that just reminded me, because at the end of the episode, during the credits of the episode, you see the credits and you see the special thanks to Dwayne McDuffie, of course, being one of them, and and a few other people. Actually, I think one of them we might talk about later. I can't remember. But nevertheless, you know what? If you haven't had a chance to check out Wonder Man, you should. Especially if you know the character. It is not definitely anywhere near what you know about the character outside of the fact that he's an actor.
Right. What I was going to say is it plays off a particular aspect of that character and really enhances it.
Right.
Right? It doesn't go into the original origin, say that, 3 times fast.
Right.
It doesn't go into the original origin of the comic book version of the character, but what it does do is really focus on the actor side. And we know that even long before the existence of this show, the actor side of the character very often played a big role in any of the particular series that Wonder Man led. He led an ongoing in the 90s. He led a couple of arcs in West Coast Avengers with this.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is definitely something that the creatives behind the show chose to emphasize, and they took, not to an extreme, but they definitely took liberties with creating a character that was more kind of in the mold of not blank turned actor, but just someone who started as an actor.
Right. It's actually kind of funny because all through the show there were parallels through character movements and the character, which I know was probably intentional, but it's sometimes Simon and Trevor kind of had this thing, which where the thing they were kind of doing paralleled, but also I guess a thing that could parallel in the real life if you were an actor. I suppose I don't know a lot of life, so I don't know. But in this particular case, the parallels are well, okay, we know what this character is into, and this other character doesn't know that. But also, we know how they're the simulators of what they're doing to going to the similarities of what they got into were just notable. So, but it was good for that, and I don't know. There was, I guess, part of me kind of expected something a little different in how it ended, but also did not know what to expect from how it was going to end. So it was, it wasn't, and I'm not saying it was a bad thing the way that it was ended. It was just okay, I know how I would have wanted it to end, and I'm glad it didn't end that way, because that way it would have made it a little, predictable.
I need to rewatch Shang-Chi, to be perfectly honest, because the last time I rewatched that, I stopped long before Trevor Slattery reappears on the screen.
Right. Yeah, because there was a couple of things in Wonder Man that was you know what? Yeah, there was a good question that was just asked as the how he got there from there to here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that might have also been a short. I feel like there might have been a short that might have explained that. And actually, for those watching or listening to the show, you can go to the clickbait section of the show notes where Marvel did I guess if you want to call it a nicety, and basically did a timeline of Shredder. Actually, they call it the official Trevor Slattery MCU Watch Guide.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes. So so you can definitely check that out. Actually, I'm trying to pull it up real quick.
They'll never see me coming.
And you know what? I'm kind of glad they did that, but they didn't just go full on with it, because clearly they're going to reference the thing, and there were references to that all the way up and through this, but he didn't just go full on. Well, full on back to that. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, but also I have that ring light. By the way, everybody has that ring light. But yeah, if you're watching the video version, you can see, you can kind of see Trevor Slattery's timeline, in a sense. Yep, there's that one shot there, and then there's Shang-Chi, and then there's Wonder Man. So yeah, therein lies that. But we have talked about Wonder Man for a good bit, I think. We'll probably come back to it because, next week everybody will have seen it, or a lot of people will have seen it, not everybody, and we could be a little bit more spoiler free if interested in doing so. I think I might actually rewatch it, weirdly enough.
Sure. I think it's worth a rewatch.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, there was a couple of aspects of Simon that's you know what? That is actually kind of almost comic accurate. some of his mannerisms at a certain point.
Sure, just don't make him a pacifist. I'll scream.
Yeah, that'll be upsetting. That'll be really upsetting. But you know what? I guess it's too early for them to do anything like that, unless they just jump straight to it, and that'd be a real bummer.
Just don't make him a pacifist, because that stuff makes me scream in the comics.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. It's like, just, you're one of the most powerful dudes in the universe, and you shut up and leave. You're useless. You're useful, but you're useless, all at the same time. But anyway, that, folks, was Wonder Man, and like I said, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, you should, because it is actually a good time, and short episodes. None of them go any further than 30 through 35 minutes at the most. Right. So I think the least one was like 25 minutes. So, and you got to see a goddamn D-list Great Lakes Adventure have some shine, or rise and fall, or shine, whichever we want to call it, which, yeah. And we'll be talking about that character actually a little bit more in a little bit when we get into books, which we will get into now, actually, with, excuse me, folks. Actually, I should have put this up earlier. We're going to start off with the books of the week with G.I. Joe, number 18.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe, number 18, published by Image, is written by Joshua Williamson, with art by Marco Fodera, colors are by Lee Luffridge, and letters are by Russ Wooton. So, we have a pretty fun issue that picks up right where we left off in the last issue, but serves to introduce several characters, right? But primarily, the issue focuses upon Roadblock, who's on the cover, right? No big spoiler here. I think the best surprise was that Roadblock is contacted in his day job by two characters who are affiliated with Cobra, at least in the cartoon timeline, in terms of the comic book, the Larry Hama G.I. Joe Real American Hero timeline. They're at least affiliated with Cobra. They are not necessarily directly connected to Cobra, at least the way it was portrayed in the cartoon canon. But these two characters were just waiting to be introduced. No, and I found it. What's that? Have they been around?
Yeah, they've been in the universe a few different times.
My apologies.
Now, granted, you did not read where they first was introduced, because I believe
that's what it was.
But yeah, they've been around, and I think they've been in this book a couple times, kind of in passing. But yeah,
gotcha. But we got to see them live and direct, as it were. And I kind of thought it was funny that as part of the introduction, what they're driving is a Shelby Cobra. Yes. It's a Shelby Cobra, a convertible, but a Cobra nonetheless. So I thought that was a nice little, artistic license that the artist took, that Marco Fodera took in this issue.
On brand, some would say.
Exactly.
So I would go so far as wait. Let me answer Von Gloom here for a second. So no, it was Roadblock, the one that rhymed. So if you haven't read this yet, we'll leave it to you whether that happens or not. But we were talking about that before the show.
Right, we were actually talking about that in the pre-production meeting.
Yes. So yes, Roadblock gets introduced in the Energon Universe, doing what he loves. Actually, and I will go so far as to say, if folks remember the episode of G.I. Joe, I believe it was called Red Rocket's Glare or something like that, where Cobra tried to buy out his family's, basically tried to buy out his family's restaurant for their chain restaurant. They reference that in this issue in a way.
It's almost like a loose reinterpretation of it.
Basically. It's in this case, it's him and not his family, but there's a couple of references. There's a definite callback, or not callback, but a different reference to that particular episode that shows up in here, including the Crimson Twins, because they were a part of that episode as well. So that's kind of what made this issue, part of what made this issue a particular character we could read. Obviously, it's Roadblock, because he's probably one of my favorite Joes, for reasons, actually. But I will have to say that I had to read this book. Well, I read this book back to back with 17. And I'm just going to say this right here, right now. I knew it, because there was a revelation in 17 that we had been teasing about a certain character that had not showed up, but we knew was around.
Right. And I want to say that when 17 first came out, I made reference to this during the show in which I talked about it. But because Roddykat had not yet read the issue, it had to wait until this particular episode, this current episode that we're recording now. Right. So I absolutely understand what Roddykat is referring to.
Yeah, because we knew that character was around, and sure enough, it was definitely the person we thought it was. Because I knew something was fishy with that character. Something seemed fishy with that character when they were popping up, when they were showing up. But I was happy to be right on that one. But it was kind of feel like a thing that I feel like if you played Colossal Tension, it was probably something anybody with G.I. Joe knowledge would have probably figured out. So maybe, who knows? But regardless. So here in 18, like I said, we got Roadblock, we got a little bit of Night Force, we got the callback to, we got the reference to the G.I. Joe cartoon, everything you would want here. Joshua Williams knew what he was doing, obviously, but it's been like that since the book started, so it's not that big of a surprise. A couple of changes here and there. There was even, and this is kind of a slight spoiler. The only thing we didn't get is, and knowing this after battle. That's almost the only thing we did not get. That was the only thing we didn't get in this issue. So, but they also reference what that is referencing, in a way. They also reference another potential Joe in here, and it's like, I don't know. I wonder if they're actually going to bring that character into the book. I feel like they probably will, because I feel like I've seen a lot of pages where that said as much. But yeah, there was a reference to another very stoic Joe, who I guess is sometimes known for going undercover and wearing beach shirts.
Yes.
That
I did notice that. I couldn't remember what that character's code name was, but I was like, Chuckles. Oh no, that's what I was like. No, I think I know who that is. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, they straight up referenced Chuckles, which I did. I remember there was I think it was the IDW run, and they had gave him a mini series where he went undercover or something like that. And I was like, I wanted to actually read that, because I was like, how did that actually work out? But anyway,
I just kind of chuckled very quickly, no pun intended.
No.
that we're now up to issue 18. We are about to be neck deep in the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover.
Yes.
About to be neck deep.
Because boy, did that come out.
Right. And, in this issue, we get a little bit of not dissension, but definitely some cracks forming in the leadership structure of Cobra. And
potentially G.I. Joe.
Right. And up to this point, we still have not seen the most popular G.I. Joe of all time, who does not speak, runs around in ninja gear, and, we have not seen even a hint of it. So I'm very interested to see how long they can hold off.
You know what? With what they got going on, they can do it for a while. I mean, if anybody's really just jonesing for that dude, like, what do you, like, I get it, but also what are you coming here for? Like, there are other folks that, just like with the cartoons, it was like they went, even with the cartoon, they kind of went away from that character being kind of a focal point. Actually, they really didn't have anybody for a focal point.
No, it was what I was gonna say is it was not the focal point of the cartoon so much as the comics.
Well, yes, that is true. So
Right, and then it became a kind of a focal point of the toys. So,
well, I mean, to be fair, it's a badass toy. So yeah,
right,
it's a badass figure. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm willing to see it. It's like I said, I kind of feel like if they do it anytime soon, it feels like it would still kind of feel like there's no confidence in what's going on in the book already. One, or sales. You know, because it feels like, okay, well, sales are going down. Now we got to bring him into the book. And I hope that's not the case. But yeah, but that being said, I am still kind of curious as to how and when they're going to bring him in. But I just, at this point, I was like, you know what, when it happens, it'll happen. Or it might not happen. But I feel like there's things already been set up to where it's very much going to happen.
Right.
That Agent 70 hasn't read yet. Or as far as I know, because you did read Scarlet, did you?
I did read Scarlet.
Yeah, so you know about that part then. So that part was already set up. It's just a matter of them just, you know, putting the blocks all together. So, and they haven't even returned to that character yet. So that was a whole nother situation. So a whole other situation. So, yeah, it is still a thing here. But as Agent 70 said, yeah, we seem to be heading towards the G.I. Joe Transformers. Not necessarily a crossover, but that's kind of already been happening. But a G.I. Joe versus Transformers situation could be inbound at some point. But also in another book, there's another thing going on that I'm pretty sure that's got to get taken care of first, which is about to get taken care of actually. Excuse me, in a couple of issues, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But yes, potential click of the week: Roadblocks in Universe now, and No One Is Half to Battle. And with that, we are getting to get to the next book that we have in common, which is ThunderCats, number 23.
ThunderCats, number 23, published by Dynamite, is written by Declan Shalvey, with art by Drew Moss, colors by Arancia Studio, and letters are by Jeff Eckleberry. So this issue, much like G.I. Joe that we just talked about, kind of picks up exactly where we left off, you know, with the ThunderCats kind of in a better place than they have been in a long time. And they're looking to keep, whatever tactical advantages that they might have and try to increase them. And so, Panthro, who has kind of gotten better from where he was, over the last several issues, comes up with something to do and finds himself doing a Fast and Furious, right? Where we kind of joke about, well, what else can the Fast and Furious crew do? They can go somewhere, and that's where Panthro goes.
To which they kind of did.
Right. And ultimately, what Panthro finds is a crossover. Yet another crossover, not EPMD, but rather we have a crossover within the Dynamite licensed character universe. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Yeah, and it's a crossover that has already been set up in another book, which I know Agent 70 had been started.
I haven't caught up. Right, exactly.
Yes.
I haven't caught up.
Yeah, which had been set up in another book in another way. Actually, given what we found out in this issue in two different books, actually, in the book that is being crossed over with and another adjacent book to ThunderCats. So the whole world, the whole line is bucking for that, and it's great. Like I said, like I told Agent 70 before the show, like I knew they were setting up something. I did not expect to see what showed up in this particular issue in relation to that crossover. Because like I said, we already knew, the crossover potential was already there with, like I said, one of the other books. But let's just say that if you read the adjacent book to ThunderCats, and the other book that is, as we've said previously, while ended, was still in the same universe of the book what happened in that book comes into play in this book. And while we're still seeing what the adjacent ThunderCat title is going to do on the other end of that, I wondered at the time when the other book ended, like what was this setting up? Because it did feel like while it was the end of the book, there was still more to do. And as like I said, with the adjacent ThunderCats book, you see something, but I wasn't expecting it to come in here, like I said, in this particular way, which was a great thing to see.
Right.
But yeah, with this book, yeah, like Agent 70 said, Panthro has his mission. Tiger kind of was upset about it because, you know, like he wasn't in the loop on some of the things or a couple of things.
How can you leave me out? I'm the scientist.
Right,
That's a
right.
spoiler.
Right. Like this is my purview. What do you nobody tells me, and you know, and they you know, they talked about it out. Lionel has his pity party again while after having a moment with a book and Jaga, because he's still kind of miffed about that situation. And a couple other things come up, you know, that is still kind of lingering out there. But
he's doing his best Batman impression because he's looking for a place to brood, except he calls it pouting. And I'm like, no, you're brooding.
No, he was pouting. Because like, I say that because, like, look, yes, while he's in a grown man's body, he's still a little kid. So it's a pout as far as I care. But of course, he gets, you know, he gets some consolation, so it's fine. And yeah, there's like I said, so a couple of other things get mentioned, which opens up a couple other things to come. And yeah, we'll see how this crossover thing, you know, comes out, you know, in for the future. Because I have a feeling if the thing that happens here is any indication, it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. Because I can't imagine them sitting on that for two terribly long.
No, it's not, because one thing that I mentioned in our pre-production meeting is that the crossover that we're hinting at is already in solicitations. So
right.
if they're putting out solicitations, yes. Right? If they're already putting out solicitations, reaching out to the month of April, then we know that this particular crossover is in the making. Coming out very shortly.
To which, speaking of that, in the clickbait, not in this clickbait section, in the show notes, we do have most of those solicitations in there if you want to peruse them yourself. For, I can't remember if we have those ones, but I know most of the ones that are out. Yeah. We definitely have that.
Yeah, take a look at those solicitations. Put your pre-orders in. Click your League of Comic Book Geeks subscriptions. You know, do what you got to do.
Yeah. I feel like my shop already knows me well enough. It's like, yeah, he's definitely gonna want all of that because they were on my pull anyway. So, and they're usually pretty good about pulling stuff. Sometimes pull stuff that I didn't actually ask for that's adjacent. So, but yeah, Von Gloom says that sound means Panthro, aka Heathcliff Huxtable's dad, is about to kick some arse. Yeah, not so much, but he was definitely on full display here in this issue.
Well, he was teamed up with some of the more pacifist characters.
Yeah, that's pacifist is a nice way of saying that, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the kindest way to put it.
Yes, indeed. So, but you know, at the end of this, Panthro kind of finds him in a place. As I say in my notes, he found a new station. Some would say. And therein lies maybe a multiple hint. To which, now that I think about it, I want to say in the cartoon something similar did happen, but not crossover wise. But I think that the guys did kind of set up a similar thing in the cartoon. I feel like in later seasons. But I don't remember if that was the case. Either way, that was ThunderCats number 23. Great. It was a great read, as usual. So we will see how this crossover comes up, when it absolutely comes up. And I believe, let us see, we have one more book that's in common, and that book is new number 1 of the week, Iron Man number 1.
I am Iron Man. Iron Man #1 is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Carmen Carnero. Colors are by Nolan Woodard, and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. As always, the MCUification of, several characters continues here and there. It makes itself evident, especially in #1 issues. Because we're going through a very quick recap of the origin of Iron Man. But how we're doing it, the setting that we're doing it in, is almost a recreation of, what is it, Iron Man 2?
Yes.
Right?
Well, I want to say yes, but I feel like there was part of one that
Or was it
also...
Iron Man 3?
See, I try to forget much of Iron Man 3 whenever possible. So we'll go with 2.
Right.
And maybe part of 1.
Right. All we needed was a clear. You know what? I need to go back and double check if Tony Stark's favorite rock band in this comic book is also AC/DC.
Right.
So we'll see. I
I
wasn't really paying attention.
Right.
But I'm going to take a look at the art. Carmen Carnero is a little bit hit or miss for me. I did not particularly enjoy her Captain America, but I think the Iron Man is a little bit more to my liking. So I felt like the artist's strengths were better put to use in Iron Man. At least that's my personal take on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to go take a look and see if I can identify the favorite rock band. But I'll hand it off to Roddykat with that.
So yeah, if you've heard anything about this, because I know we've talked about it also, well, first of all, it's not a #1 issue if you don't have a classic villain show up for you to dispatch real early on. And in this case, it's no exception, because it is definitely a classic Iron Man villain who pops up to get throttled. But we got AIM shenanigans, but AIM with Madame Masque, basically doing their best, or heeding to what Jay-Z said. Basically, was like they saying they made Hove say okay, so make another Hove, and that's what AIM is trying to do in this particular occasion, as Tony kind of gets wind of it. It is also Old Girlfriends week with the one notable exception, because a few of them come out, including the one I just mentioned, kind of come out for this particular episode. And thankfully, I guess, not even thankfully, the cavalry's still around. So,
yep.
So good stuff. And we find out, where Tony's kind of set up, which is a weird place for him to set up, but also tied to another original Avenger. One that he's both worked with and against on occasion. And also, speaking of that, the book references an event that Tony was kind of front and center of with another Avenger who actually shows up here, possibly in a similar manner. We don't know. And I'm going to actually spoil, because there may be another Marvel Legends figure/vehicle in this. I don't know if they will go on the full out, because as soon as I saw Tony rolling up, who made an interest, MCU style, of course, or almost MCU style, of course, on a new toy, that of course ended up doing the thing that you was like, if you paying attention, like, this thing is going to transform into an armor, isn't it? Yep. And sure enough, it did. At first I thought it was like, wait, did he just basically take the old Avengers Sky Cycle model and just made it into a transformer? So I don't know, but But yeah, that should be a new figure. I don't know if they'll make it transform or not. I mean, Talala 1, it's all Hasbro either way at the end of it, but we'll see about that. Von Gloom says the design looks like older armors. I mean, there's always going to be some similarities. They're not going to go too crazy with, especially the modern ones. You know,
Right.
there's always going to be touches back to kind of keep everything, you know, in a similar tone, in a similar way. You know, they even brought back apparently the something from the stealth suit in this one. But Von Gloom also says kind of reminds me of Heroes Reborn. No one needs the reminder of Heroes Reborn, but I get it. I get it. Wash it out of your brain, or don't. I don't know. I can't live your life for you. That's a terrible thing to be put in mind of, though.
Right, there are definitely elements of the recent armors in this design. So
Yeah. Like I said, they're not going to go too far away from.
right.
You know, you're gonna say sorry. I'm gonna cut you off.
No. I was just gonna say that in terms of the MCUification, we get the workshop. There's elements of Iron Man 1 in that as well. I did look at the rock band. It looks like there is a woman lead singer, so that is definitely not AC/DC.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of got a kick out of the whole, at least evoking the MCU without truly making it MCUified. I think is probably a good thing for readers who are picking up a #1 issue who might be less well versed or less well read in the history of Iron Man. So I kind of get it.
Yeah, but also we, being as traveled as we are definitely going to see the see the MCUification of things, as we have called out or potentially called out many and plenty of times previously, because it's like, yeah, you can't. There's no way in where you can't say that's not the case. But yeah, like I said, we see where Tony's set up now. We see it's like the reference to another Marvel event. Which is weird because that event also has been reprinted lately and is getting a spinoff, as we talked about last week. So this is weird, or probably intentional. But yeah, as a #1, the only thing we did not see or hear, excuse me, is a mention of scraps in a cave. Well, we did get the cave mentioned, but we didn't get this in with scraps.
Right. I just wanted to mention one last thing. It's kind of a mild spoiler. So on the splash page cliffhanger page, right, where there's an exclamation, a declaration that somehow we need to do something because of Tony Stark, there's one, let's just say, maybe bad guy who's normally running around in a green suit,
but currently running around in a red and blue one, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
I noticed that. I noticed that. Yeah, that was weird to see, gotta say, but I was
like, that's a choice, you know?
Right. It kind of felt Illuminati-ish, of which there's a reason potentially why that is, actually, given,
Right. They definitely do a direct call to that, direct reference to that.
So therein is like, and I'm sure I will have a DJ clue. Illuminati up here somewhere. I thought I had that stinger set up, but I do not. Von Gloom says the armor in that. oh, yes. Marvel took on Fighting Souls. The armor in that. Well, I mean, again, it is a Japanese version of his armor. So, yes, I don't like I said, it's still reminiscent of his other stuff. So you're not going to look at that armor and say it's like, I mean, you just did kind of, but But it's still, you're not going to sit here and say that that's not Iron Man from looking at that suit. Actually, I cannot wait for that that game. And it's actually 4v4, but not this small distinction. But yeah, I can't wait for that game to come out. Because, yeah, this game's going to be pretty great. Pretty good, seems like, especially with who's making it. That being said, though, that was Iron Man #1. And we do have one more book to talk about before we go into Rapid Fire. And that book is Sorcerer Supreme #2.
Sorcerer Supreme #2 is written by Steve Orlando, with art by Bernard Chang, colors are by Ruth Redmond, and letters are by VC's Joe Sabino. We're picking up right after the action kind of heats up with the cliffhanger ending of issue #1, with a face-off between Wanda and one Agatha, who's going to push Wanda to her absolute limits in this issue, and it's kind of fun to think about what the general overall premise here is, in that Wanda takes something that's usually given. I'm paraphrasing something that Agatha says, and I kind of get that, and I kind of see where Wanda is coming from as well. So it's an interesting way to look at it. It's not completely original because we know that things like this have happened to Stephen Strange before, as the origin of his title and his powers, or his source of power, have been explored over the years. But it's a pretty, I think, a fairly novel concept for the Sorcerer Supreme title. So I'll hand it off to Roddykat and get his thoughts on that.
So yeah, I mean, yes, the Agatha comes in and is like, you stole the things, which we know she didn't. She was actually chose, as Wanda was saying, by the vestments, but apparently that wasn't enough for, the gatekeepers of the title, who bequeathed someone else to be like, get out of here. So yeah, and it's pretty much Agent 70 said it was like, Agatha, arguably the one who knows Wanda pretty much the very well, if not the best, out of anybody that could actually push her, is brought in to do just that, and they kind of go at it as they kind of have been, at times. And yeah, we got a brief respite for a second, and Wanda goes and does a little bit of counseling with the last person she should probably be counseling with. But hey, that's what she got him there for. Only to have a round 2 that goes a certain way, and how that will shape up, how that will go. I guess we'll see how that shapes up in issue 2. But also, we found out that, and I guess we already knew this particular issue, the thing, that Bats is very much a New York dog, because he mentions having a problem with tourists walking 5 abreast, which I figured Agent 70 would get a kick out of.
Oh, that's very real. It's a very real problem.
And also probably Von Gloom in the chat, now that I think about it, because he's also a New Yorker. But yeah, that was the Sorcerer Supreme and #2. Some folks find themselves trying to figure out what side they're going to be on, but also getting drawn into things in a way, which I assume is pretty much answering the question. But I guess we will see as this book goes on. And with that, though, that's all of the books that we have in common. Let's get into some rapid fire.
All righty, here we go. Rapid fire review time, folks.
I ain't got time to bleed.
First up for me is Absolute Batman number 16, published by DC. It's written by Scott Snyder with additional writing and art by Nick Dragotta. Colors are by Frank Martin and letters are by not VC. Letters are by independent letterer Clayton Cowles. This is the other, I guess, half of the Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman crossover. We previously got the Absolute Batman appearance in Absolute Wonder Woman. Now we've got Absolute Wonder Woman appearing in Absolute Batman. And it's a great story, right? It's a great way to cross these particular characters over, and keep it in story in canon of the Absolute Batman story. We're still dealing with the after effects of the Absolute Bane story and Absolute Bane's effect upon this Bruce Wayne and this Bruce Wayne's circle of friends. And it's a pretty effective way of kind of rejiggering his origin story, as it were. So, Absolute Batman number 16 is definitely a candidate for Click of the Week. Absolute Wonder Woman number 16, also published by DC, is out this week. It's written by Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman. Colors are by Jordi Belair and letters are by Becca Carey. In this issue, we have the full-on first appearance, I guess, as opposed to a cameo appearance, of the Absolute Zatanna. And actually, no, correction. I believe this is the second appearance of the Absolute Zatanna. So, because I'm now remembering exactly what we read in the previous issue, where Zatanna kind of does something to Diana's magic, and that's going to prove to be, I guess the crux of their confrontation in the upcoming issue or issues. We get an interesting first appearance of the Suicide Squad in this, or at least the absolute version of a Suicide Squad in this issue as well. So, we're getting a lot of cool absolute firsts in an issue like this. This is also a candidate for Click of the Week for me. Next up, surprise, it's Malevolent number 1, published by Image. It's written by Justin Jordan with art by John Bivens. Colors are by Felipe Sobrero and letters are by Crank. I kid you not. The letterer goes by Crank with an exclamation point. So I'm going to give you the tagline on this book and kind of fill in some of the blanks. 30 years ago, the gates of hell cracked open when science went too far, and the world has never been the same. Humanity adapted, survived, and even thrived in the shadow of demons. No, there are not KPop Demon Hunters in this issue, but they find an interesting way of making something new, right? But now mankind has made something new, something dangerous, a weapon that can kill demons if she doesn't kill us first. If you want to find out what they make, and they are not K-pop singers, take a look at this book. Next up is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1. The first story is written by Saladin Ahmed with art by Federico Vicentini. Colors are by Chris Sotomayor and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. The second story is written by Joe Kelly with art by Roy Mercado, colors by Chris Sotomayor, and letters again by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. The first story focuses upon Rapid, a new character that had been introduced in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, and now, is being shown the ropes. And it's kind of a fun first story in an annual, because we know that they're going to, slowly push the rollout of this new character. And, we get a pretty annoying return of one of Spidey's more recent supervillains. It's a pretty annoying character because it's definitely based in or drawn heavy influence from today's social media world, and that's just annoying. The second story is Joe Kelly kind of continuing some things that are going to pop up in the ongoing book. If you're looking to see what I want to say is going to be happening in the Amazing Spider-Man book post Peter returning from space, that second story is probably going to be a big clue. And that's it for me. Take it away, Roddykat.
Alrighty. Von Gloom in the chat says that Zatanna looks like the missing member of a late 80s all-girl rock band. You mean Jim and the Holograms? No, I'm just kidding. Almost expect her to sing Cherry Bomb.
Ha!
Didn't think I knew that one, did you? Haha. But also Von Gloom says, oh no, Paul is back in Spider-Man books. Actually, isn't he over in Venom? Or no?
Yes,
yeah,
he definitely is over in Venom.
Yeah, I think he's been over there since that whole thing has been going the way it's been. Another reason for me to not read Venom, but let's see. That being said, we're going to get into my books with, weirdly enough, a digital comic. I mean, excuse me, an Infinity Comics more specifically, with Doorman Infinity Comic, I guess #1 or whatever it is, that came out this week on the Marvel Unlimited platform, which is not a sponsor, but I wish they would. Written by Cody Ziegler, art by Julian Shaw, color artist Rachel Rosenberg, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. That is a typo. So there's really not much to say about this. Also, hey, guess what, folks? What we already talked about Wonder Man. We talked about the fact that Doorman is in it, and this is pretty much the main reason why this Infinity book exists. Let's just go ahead and say the funny part about this is, and I say this, the thing that I say in my notes is that basically Doorman goes to an in-person interview and does too much, which will be familiar if you've watched Wonder Man. Not saying for that the version of the character that shows up in Wonder Man, but for a character that kind of, let's just say, well, the character that gets into their own head and is the title character of that show. Kind of stays a little bit too much in their own head and causes themselves problem. Well, Doorman kind of does something slightly similar, except for, he's trying to impress the person that's just doing the interview and does a little too much.
Ding dong!
Yes, and that even shows up, actually.
Oh my God!
That even shows up in this book.
Oh no!
So again, that's the tie is there. So,
oh my God, the MCU-fication of Doorman.
Basically, kind of. Basically, kind of, but also, do we really need a Doorman to actually come back in any, actually,
listen, you know the character far better than I because you actually read the Wackos at that point.
True, but also didn't. What I didn't do is read the subsequent stuff from the GLA, like GLX and stuff like that came afterwards, because I'm just going to make this mention is for those who don't know. A very popular character came out, and I think we've mentioned this before, came out of GLA, and that character is Squirrel Girl. Just saying. She rose out of that ranks and got popular for some odd reason out of that. So I did a little bit of research. It was like, okay, so what was the last thing Doorman actually did outside of this? So I went to the wiki, and I think the last thing was he was the doorman for Squirrel Girl's apparent death. That happened supposedly what happened at one time in an old book. But she's fine. She's still around. So clearly she's fine. But yeah, and apparently he's tied to Oblivion. Thanks to his powers. Actually, that's the one thing we didn't talk about. during Wonder Man. But I guess we could talk about that next week. But his powers are rooted in a specific force, but or in the comics, I should say. But apparently, a company is responsible for a known company in the Marvel Universe was responsible for the MCU powers. Go figure. But anyway, so yeah, that's Durman Infinity comic. Like I said, if you have Marvel Unlimited, it is out there for you to check out. I don't know if it's free if you don't have an account, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. Next up, we get into so low before thing. So we had someone in the chat last week that asked us what our favorite indies are, and just everybody knows about this because one, he was there, and two, I talked about it in our pre-production meeting. But this next book that I'm going to talk about is one that I totally forgot about until like a couple of days later when I had remembered the book and mentioned it on social media. And that book is The Hunger and the Dusk, Book 2, number 5 of 6. Because the book is ending because they decided to do away with it. But they still let the arc, they still let them finish out by putting it out in chunks. So this is written by G. Willow Wilson with art by Chris Wildgoose, colors by Masiek, and letters by Simon Boland. Another potential click of the week of me because I love this book. This is the penultimate issue. We get a lesson about a certain flower. Weirdly enough, this is a rare occasion where even though the book hadn't been out in a while, I still remember everything that happened in the last issue. So I didn't necessarily have to go back to it. But let's just say the gang's all back together for the one last push against the antagonist of the book, which is another creature race that's been kind of encroaching. But if you don't know how about the book, so humans and orcs made an alliance because there's this other group called the Vangols that's been kind of, taking both of them out. So the humans and the orcs kind of banded together. We have an orc-human alliance in the form of a human mercenary group called the Last Man Standing, which is headed up by this character named Cal, which is you see on the cover that's laid down, and an orc healer named Tara, who you can also see if you're watching the video version. You can see the cover of. But of course, love blooms on the battlefield, but they have issues before that ends up happening. Well, in this particular issue, some of that gets quite nicely rectified, actually. But yes, this was a touching issue. This book, if you like high fantasy, was definitely go back to book 1 and then read on to book 2 if you are interested. But I enjoyed this book every time it's come out, and I hate to see it go when it does go to the next issue, but it is out there for folks' perusal. Next up, and the last book for myself, is Void Rivals, number 26. We continue the Quintesson War situation where the Quintessons have come to Agoria and I can't remember the other place's name, but basically has come to the Void Rivals universe, voice, and colonize, and the folks there like Nar. But of course, who does the Quints send out when they need to make a show of force? Well, if you're a Transformers fan, you know who that is, who those folks are, and if you don't, if you're watching the video version, you can see them right there on the cover. So there you go. Actually, I never had any of those figures, but you only need like 1 or 2 or 3. But yeah, so like I said, we're still kind of in the midst of that. No Cybertronians has shown up in this issue because I think they're still around there. I can't remember because I know Hot Rod and Springer were still kind of in the area, but they didn't show up in this book because I figured like they would have known, or they didn't show up in this issue. Put it that way. So maybe we will see them show up next issue or not, because they may or may not have left the scene and gone back to Cybertron, aka also the Transformers book. I'm not entirely sure. So kind of left these folks to their own devices, or they may still be around. We don't know. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is the whole Quintesson War thing, and that's whole thing is still kind of going on. And we shall see what happens. And and the two main characters in this book also reunite with themselves. Even one almost saying, "Come with me if you want to live," type situation.
Oh,
which,
no.
They didn't actually say those words, but if you see the page that I'm talking about, then you know it kind of reads like that. Von Gloom says, going to need the Dinobots and the Predacons so the Autobots and the Decepticons can have their own savage shock troops. We don't know if those folks are not around or if they have not. Well, we do know Combiners are there because obviously Devastator and the Aerobots are there at this point. But I would assume that they are. Matter of fact, I think there is an allusion to the Dinobots coming into play at some point with a couple of past issues of Transformers, or at least one. Kind of feel like it was there, but we shall see if that's going to be the case. Whether they put any of them, the rest of them into place, because like I said, we already got a couple of sets already. Actually, yeah, and the Stunticons are also in there, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, there's combiners in there. It's just a matter of whether they keep going along those lines. But we shall see. And that, folks, is it for me. Kliqs of the week.
Kliqs of the week.
So, I don't know if Agent 70, you seem like you might have already kind of had yours set.
I've got my candidates.
Okay.
I've got my candidates. The two Absolute books I read this week, Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. I actually like ThunderCats number 23. G.I. Joe number 18 was good. And I think Sorcerer Supreme was a good candidate as well. But I think I'm going to narrow it down to the two Absolute books, with ThunderCats being a close third. I've just got to make a quick determination. What about you?
So, I have said pretty much as much. G.I. Joe number 18 definitely is a potential. The Hunger in the Dusk, book 2, number 5. Also, there's the a variant cover right there for folks on the video cover. I mean, for watching the video. ThunderCats number 23, also a potential Kliq of the week. There you go. Was there another? I am actually, you know what? Iron Man number 1 would probably actually be up in there. Weirdly enough, it was a fun read. For what it was. And I did like Sorcerer Supreme number 2, but I'm not sure if that's going to make the cut. So my probably two very big potentials are going to be G.I. Joe and Hunger in the Dusk. I believe it's going to be one of those two. And I feel like I kind of know what I want to do and how I want to handle it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Before Agent 70 gets into his pick, which he probably already has, I will say that it didn't get a chance to read Justice League Unlimited this week. Didn't get a chance to check out that DCKO, The Kids Are All Fight business. Nor did I get a chance to check out Dick Tracy for this week. That's out there if you're interested. That 1770 books, 1776 book is still out there from Marvel. Mm-hmm. And there is a book that I was, like I told Agent 70, that I wanted to get to, that I didn't get a chance to, called Temporal Number 4. From, I believe it's from Mad Cave, Stephanie Williams' written book, and I kind of like her stuff. But I saw somebody else talking about this book, and I wanted to catch up before it, but I didn't get a chance to before we went on this week. So that stuff is out there, but I hear good things about that book. I think Agent 70, before you say yours, because I know you have yours, here's what I'm thinking. I'm possibly going to say 2 Kliqs of the week.
For yourself?
For myself, possibly. I am giving you the opportunity, if you want to take it, to do the same. If you have two strong ones to do that, I haven't decided on whether I'm actually going to do it or not. But that's what
I'm going to go with
one.
one. Okay. I was just kind of flipping through. I think I'm going to go with Absolute Batman number 16.
Okay. That Doorman comic, but I wouldn't say that's a particular read. That was just funny. That is even exists, but we know why it exists. Von Glim says, I need to see me Grimlock on the pages and Grimlock taking a bite out of a seeker as he's transforming. That part you didn't mention, but yes, I pick up what you're putting down. But yes. So Absolute Bats is Agent 70's joint. Darth Kermit says, do it. Because I feel strongly about a couple of them, but they didn't, that doesn't necessarily mean they could be. If we're keeping to the letter of things, I will keep to just one. But again, we make the rules as we go along, so this doesn't mean we can't do it. And I feel like folks may know where I'm going with this, as long as I talked about it, despite not saying a whole lot about it. But The Hunger in the Desk, Book 2, number 5, is my click of the week. Again, there is the original cover right there. But also actually read G.I. Joe number 18, because that book, that issue's good. Whether you see it in the show notes later on, hey, I'm just saying things had to happen. But that, folks, is it for Kliqs of the Week. Let us get into our first ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Wink, your personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torronté, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your taste and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink Wines through CSPN. Do it today. Now we get into the news.
So folks watching the audio version will already have known what will happen from whether I picked one or two Kliqs or not. That's all I'm going to say. But we get into the cinematic news as we do about this time with Supergirl's second villain has been revealed for the movie. Let's see. As reported by Deadline, Dear Maid Murtaugh, Diarmaid, or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
Dermid?
Dermaid? Yeah, sure.
Dermid, I think it is.
Murtaugh will play Drom Baxton, the second in command to Krim of the Yellow Hills, Supergirl's main villain, played by Matthias Schoenaerts. Drom and Krim have been described as, quote, ruthless space pirates and human traffickers. I'm assuming this is from Supergirl World of Tomorrow, the book, Tom King's book. And I'm not saying even if I knew anything about Supergirl or any of her Rose Gallery that I would have known anything more or less than that. So, but Murtaugh is known for playing Leaf in Vikings, William Buck McKenzie in Outlander, and Donald McDonald in The Tourist. And yes, as we know, this is based on Tom King's book, as I just said. And it just kind of goes into the other particulars that we already know about. see, June 26th is when it's coming out of this year, and sounds like they mentioned Man of Tomorrow, which is scheduled for July 9th, 2027, according to this article, or potentially scheduled for that date as a part of things. So, next up.
An unidentified man dressed in a Batman costume. Angrily confronted Santa Clara city officials during a joint meeting of the city council, city authorities, and the Santa Clara Stadium Authority on Tuesday, using his public comment to condemn the city's stance on cooperation with immigration and customs enforcement in the lead up to the Super Bowl being hosted in Santa Clara, Super Bowl 60.
Yes. So if you folks on the video version may have heard a little snippet of how the man dressed like a bat came into the proceedings from the Twitter post that I found this off of. I'm just gonna play a nice little snippet of this, which Age 70 won't be able to hear, but yeah. So. And he's kind of tight about this.
Yeah, just a bit. I mean, it's an interesting variant of the Batman costume.
Right.
I'm looking at the pictures in the article, so it's definitely an interesting variant of the Batman costume. I wouldn't be surprised to see that as an action figure at some point.
Also, it looks like his cape looks like he just took some curtains off.
No, it's kind. You know what it is? It's kind of a play on the first appearance. That's what it is. That's what it looks like to me. Because if you look at the first appearance Batman costume, like the inner lining is purplish.
Interesting. So yeah, it's like I said, video version probably have heard that, and if not, then maybe I'll throw a little piece in there because I'm not sure how the audio is working out nowadays for some of this stuff. But Von Klum, did he yell, "I'm the goddamn Batman"? Close enough. or grab the judge while screaming, "Swear to me." Yeah, that's right. Social justice Batman, but also fuck ICE.
Yes, fuck ICE.
As he didn't necessarily say those words, but he kind of it was intimated in here. But like, excuse me, the Blue Sky post and that article is in the show notes if you want to check out, what he actually said, because it is there, and slightly amazing, honestly.
That's very funny.
Oh yes. But next up, Jessica Jones is back in Bloody Daredevil Born Again Season 2 trailer. So I saw a version of this trailer on Disney Plus and the lead up to Wonder Man. I don't think it was as far as I know, it might not have been the whole thing though. Or I could be wrong because I don't know. I haven't seen the version that is attached to this. Or it could very well be the same one. I'm not sure. So regardless, yeah, Jessica Jones is back. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is out there. It looks kind of trippy in spots. I'm sure that was probably intentional. But this article is kind of going through what the thing did. We also see Matthew Lillard's character, excuse me, who I guess is kind of a new character in this situation. So it's not Ultra Instinct Shaggy. So sorry to disappoint, folks.
Shaggy.
But yes, live action Shaggy comes to the Marvel Universe, looking a little bit older. Well, I mean, granted he's older, so I shouldn't say that like that. But oh goodness, what is going on? Next up, though.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. 2021's Venom Let There Be Carnage movie is now on Disney Plus. The movie, which is the sequel to 2018's Venom, sees Tom Hardy's Venom going up against the symbiote known as Carnage, who takes over the body of Cletus Cassidy. The movie was divisive upon its release, mainly for the film's portrayal of Carnage. Woody Harrelson portrayed the character, and the movie was met with mostly mixed reactions. It was directed by Andy Serkis, my precious, and written by Kelly Marcel. And despite the mixed reactions, it did do very well at the box office, grossing over $500 million and becoming the 7th highest grossing film of 2021.
But also, it was 2021, and people were starving, and people are also dumb as a whole. I said it. Come at me. Because why did we get one Venom movie, much less two? Actually, wait, did we get 3? Or was it just 2?
I don't remember.
I don't know. It's too fucking many. Regardless. So I love how they say the.
Oh no, there was 3. It
That's
was
what I
3.
thought.
The third,
Yeah.
right, the third entry in the film, 2024, in the film series, 2024's. Man, y'all need some editors. Currently, the third entry in the series, 2024's Venom: The Last Dance, is not available on the streaming platform. It's unclear if or when the movie will make its way there.
Oh, I'm sure it's a matter of when. It's not even an if at this point. I'm sure. Von Gloom says Batman needs to reenact the Daniel Warren Johnson cover. That would be funny. Woody was pretty much Carnage in Natural Born Killers, which was granted. Man, I didn't think you would make that poll. That's an old movie. But you're probably right, honestly.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Right, exactly. Golden directs movie. Yeah, Serkis has been directing stuff for a while, so it's not not out of the ordinaries. Von Gloom says the lying Trixie Hobbitses review bombed precious films. The Hobbitses wouldn't know talent if it bit them on their toesies, Trixie toesies.
Oh my god!
Boy, Von Gloom, you're quite silly. But yeah, so those are out there if you somehow are interested in that for some dumb reason.
Yeah, we've gotten 3 Venom movies. Wow.
Yeah. Again, 3 too many. George Lucas contemplated replacing Anthony Daniels as C-3PO's voice. And boy, are we glad he did not make that dumbass mistake. So it turns out while George Lucas was developing the first Star Wars movie, he really wasn't happy with Anthony Daniels' voice as C-3PO. Daniels, the actor, y'all, come on, y'all, don't act like y'all don't know who the hell Anthony Daniels is at this point, was at risk of losing out on providing the distinctive voice that became synonymous. He was hired for the role in 77. Has been, that character's been around and around and around. In the 2018 documentary, The Director and the Jedi, which that's news to me, it was revealed that Lucas, struck by a creative whim, and we know how sucky what happens when that happens, contemplated replacing Daniel's voice. This article is in Lucas's butt cheeks a little too much, but okay. Let's see. The decision mirrored Lucas's earlier move as he replaced David Prowse's voice with James Earl Jones for the character, which granted that was a damn good move there. But for the post production of Darth Vader, and it goes through some other things. Oh, wait, it says Mark Hamill, who portrayed Luke Skywalker in the movie, recalled Lucas's unexpected decision and subsequent audition process. According to Hamill, Lucas wasn't happy with Daniel's proper British voice for the droid, and goes on to explain that, which I won't go through the quote here, but you can read that in the article for yourself, and how it went from there. And actually, I got to pull that over, reminding myself that I still hadn't watched that Masters of the Universe trailer. But Von Gloom says, and only one Morbius movie, thank God. Yeah. Next up, though,
Ed, and Eddie is making a comeback. They've been here for years. The classic cartoon will return to Cartoon Network, airing in the Checkered Past block, which airs throwbacks. The announcement was confirmed in a post to Twitter. Ed, and Eddie returns to Checkered Past, which, if you missed it, returned late December on Wednesday, February 11th, replacing Dexter's Lab. The cartoon premiered in 1999, and it ran for 6 seasons. Okay.
You can tell who's behind these decisions, though, because these are 90s kids doing this, man. 'Cause we would have, I don't think we would have done such idiocy. Now, granted, Gumball I would bring back, but, you know, I think they actually did bring back Gumball, because Gumball's pretty great. And it is kind of dumb, but, you know, hey, it is what it is. All offense to 90s kids. Just come at me, whatever. Actually, it was whatever. Next up, though, Oscar nominations. So yeah, actually, there was another story I meant to pull from this of a similar note, but I don't think I have it. Or the next one might cover that one. But Sinners leads with a record 16 Oscar nominations, with some other stuff also coming in. This is I meant to put this in the lineup last week, but I forgot. So yeah, it's up for Best Picture. Let's see, Michael B. Jordan's up. Supporting actress Wumi Masako, love her. Supporting actress Delroy Lindo is up. Director and original screenplay for Ryan Coogler. Music score for the song I Lied to You. Singing, cinematography, production design, costume design, sound, editing, makeup and hair, casting, and visual effects. So basically, it's running the noms. Whether they win, we'll see. And apparently it broke a record because the previous record of nominations, this counting 16, was last held by All About Eve, Titanic, and La La Land, which apparently held 14. So, yeah.
You haven't watched that movie yet, have you?
I still have not watched Sinners yet, but I do have it. So don't come at me. Don't come from a black card either.
Ah.
But yes, I have, actually, hold on. I'm about to put something in the chat that Agent 70 probably already knows about. But, in fact, here, I'm going to make it the next story. I have to put in the thing. So again, causing myself some more work, but you know, Agent 70 will understand why. Or again, probably has heard this already. Give me 1 second, folks.
You're waiting with bated breath.
Oh yes. Oops. Come on. There we go. Folks on the video version can see what I'm doing already, and this is not going to get edited, so that's going to be fun. Unless something drastic happens.
That's funny.
All right, should be in there. Or wait, you should be able to see it now.
Oh, cool.
There we go. Next up.
All right, next up, Ted Lasso sets season 4. These stupid ads. Psst. 1 second. Ted Lasso sets season 4 premiere window. We have first look photos revealing Ted's son post recast and a new assistant coach at Richmond women's team. The long-awaited 4th season of Apple TV's mega hit Ted Lasso will make its global debut in summer 2026. Along with the announcement, the streamer released 4 first-look images from the new season of the Emmy-winning comedy starring and executive produced by Jason Sudeikis. The photos provide a first glimpse at Ted as he returns to Richmond, taking on his biggest challenge yet, coaching a 2nd Division women's football team. In 2 of the images, Ted is joined by a new assistant coach alongside returning Coach Beard, played by Brendan Hunt. She is played by new cast member Tanya Reynolds. Another photo introduces Grant Feely as Ted's son Henry after the role was recast ahead of season 4. Okay.
They recast Pietro?
Oh, no.
So yeah, that's good news for you Ted Lasso fans, which has nothing to do with comic books, but still, sometimes we cover other things. And speaking of other things, but this is slightly adjacent, KPop Demon Hunters breaks another Netflix record as streamer releases a biannual viewership record. So, and also Wednesday, season 2 led TV in second half of 2025. Let's see. In the second half of last year, K-pop Demon Hunters amassed 482 million views, according to the Netflix's latest What We Watched report, released twice a year, according to this article, around the time of earnings. Excuse me. Quarterly earnings, at that, which details viewing across every Netflix title from July to December 2025. That doesn't include the film's first 10 days of viewing following its June 20th premiere. Excuse me, good Lord.
You want me to take over?
No, I got it. I don't know what's going on. Burps and hiccups, excuse me. Netflix also reports that K-pop Demon Hunter's lyrics videos ranked in an additional 32 million views, further illustrating the unprecedented popularity of the film, which just took home multiple Golden Globes and other awards and is widely considered to be a strong Oscar contender, according to this article. So, yeah, then it goes into context, which we don't, who cares, but there you go. Next up, unless you got something.
No.
Okay, next up then.
Sentenced to be a hero gives the isekai resurrection trope a dark, brutal twist. So I guess this is... Good Lord.
Anime Corner, yeah. Mm-hmm.
With the ad blocker thingy. Right, so the headline is Sentenced to be a Hero Gives the Isekai Resurrection Trope a Dark, Brutal Twist. Endless resurrections come at a horrifying cost in this gripping anime series. Studio Kai's anime original Sentenced to be a Hero has taken the anime scene by storm. Apparently, hasn't taken me by storm. I'm just like, where are you, Korath? Who? So after yeah, I'm not going through this. There's a lot of spoilerific stuff here, and it talks about what the story is about and what they're telling, and some of the twists or variations on relatively common themes and isekai tropes.
Yes, you are not yet enough of an anime fan to get this knee deep.
Well, excuse me.
Well, hey, that's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, this is just a fact, though. It is what it is, man. Also, wait, are you? Yeah, for some strange reason, you keep freezing. Or you're
heaven forbid.
No. You're supposed to say I never freeze, but you should be all right now, I think. Do a little move. Yep, there you go. Okay. Yeah, we gotta do something with that later on too. All right, next up though, we go into the this is so going back to what I said earlier, like I said, clickbait session. So this is stuff there, including the official Trevor Slattery watch guide, but also an Instagram post from Destin Daniel Cretton on the set of Wonder Man, who apparently made a video for his son's career day, and you can see and you can click what he put in, that he was basically talking about some behind the scenes stuff, tech talk, techno stuff, but also he was on the set with the let's just say the beginning of Wonder Man. So I guess this was from, I don't know when this was done, but it was a nice watch. If you should check it out if you get a chance, and you even learn some things actually. So there you go. But now we are going to get into the comic book news. Fine Gloom says, how is Sentenced to be a Hero in Isekai? I do not know because I haven't watched it. But Fine Gloom also says the main character wasn't transported to a fantasy world from Earth. And there's no Truck-kun. I keep hearing about Truck-kun. But anyway, I'm still not entirely sure where that's from. But But comic book news, Jim Lee will contribute to DC's Absolute Universe, which we may have talked about this before. I can't remember now that I'm thinking about it, because I felt like this seems familiar. But per retailer's newsletter from DC Comics, fans can look forward to the first hardcover volumes of Absolute Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. All 3 titles will be available on Free Comic Book Day on May 2nd. And all will have exclusive Free Comic Book Day dust jackets by Jim Lee. Okay, no, that's new. And then it goes into what all of those 3 are collects, which is, they're going to be the first volumes of all 3 of those books. The solicits. Oh no, that's Absolute Wonder Woman's things. Then it just kind of goes into how the Absolute Universe came about, of which some people know at this point. But yeah, like I said, those will be available May 2nd, Free Comic Book Day, if you are interested in those.
Right. Interestingly, the volumes collect the first 6 issues of each series for Superman and Batman, but the 7 issues, the first 7 issues of Absolute Wonder Woman are actually collected. So that's that's just a subtle change.
Yeah.
Right. It's a subtle change. I'm wondering if it's reflected in the price point. We'll see. I don't know how much these volumes are going to cost.
Right. I would assume standard, but again, what is standard these days also? What is standard price for a trade these days? For a hardcover trade these days. So yeah, I guess we'll find out then. I mean, I hear people love them some Absolute Wonder Woman a little bit more than the Bat, so that's good. And I don't know anything about that, the volume to say any different. So I'm going to move on to
Jim Lee's Superman Spider-Man cover might hide a 50-year-old Easter egg. So let's see here. So we've got the cover, which I did pull for my own personal pull list.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So apparently there was a critique about the depiction of Spider-Man's hand, saying that it was a little bit odd looking. That's the finger positioning, as it were, maybe the 3D depth effect of it. So Jim Lee had an amusing response to the critique. He posted on his social media the following message, quote, "It has come to my attention from our assistant to the regional manager, very office, that there was an issue with how I drew a hand from my Superman Spider-Man crossover variant cover. Complaints heard and now resolved. Thank you for free shopping with @DC Comics. Happy holidays." He then shared the following image, and Superman's fingers are all screwy.
So, I looked at that.
As well as, Spider-Man's other hand.
Right. So this one, that's funny. 2, I looked at that and I saw that and I was like, oh, he's got arthritis. But also, you know what? If you're shaking hands with Superman, something like that could result, I believe. If he's feeling a little overzealous. But also, that's just me poking fun. But yeah, you can see, if you're watching the video version, you can see the cover and the response.
Right. And the Easter egg is actually possibly based on, at least according to the article, on the original Superman Spider-Man crossover from 1976, Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man, by Jerry Conway, Ross Andrew, Dick Giordano, and an uncredited Neil Adams and John Romita doing edits on the figures respectively.
I mean, this? If you're watching the video version, I don't know. We talked about this already. But anyway, that is what it is. And of course, this article goes into speculation on what H70 just said, and you can see the panels of which that was potentially referenced, and yada yada. Next up, though, DC just rewrote 32 years of Flash lore and changed everything according to this article. Also, potential spoiler alert for this week's Flash 29. So speaking of the Speed Force, the Energy Source has been targeted by Darkseid's Legion in DCKO during the Flash's tie-in books. wanting to eliminate the Speed Force to prevent speedsters from being a threat to Darkseid. The Legion has targeted Barry Allen and is out to stop his origin from occurring, taking out every subsequent speedster. Now Wale and Bart Allen are the last line of defense to protect the Speed Force, and they're about to learn one hell of a secret that changes everything for the speedsters. And yeah, I guess if you read this week's Flash, then you will find out what that is. Next up.
This fall, Lucasfilm Publishing and Mad Cave Studios will team up to tell original stories set in a galaxy far, far away. Prepare to make the jump into hyperspace with 2 all-new Star Wars graphic novels aimed at middle-grade readers. The first story, titled Smugglers and Scoundrels, brings together beloved smugglers and scoundrels, following Han Solo and Chewbacca on the hunt for Jabba the Hutt's bounty. Then return to Tatooine in Tales from the Outer Rim for a new tale as Luke Skywalker and his best friend Biggs Darklighter take on the legendary Beggar's Canyon. Let's see. It's a collaboration with Lucasfilm Publishing and Mad Cave Studios, marking Star Wars' debut and leverages their Paper Cuts imprint for young readers. Okay.
Yeah, I guess good for Mad Cave also. So to get that. Next up, you know what? Rest in peace, Sal Buscema, who has recently died on the January 23rd at the age of 89. This article goes into his quite prolific career as a Marvel artist. You know his work, I'm sure, if you were an 80s kids reading. And yeah, this article kind of goes through all of that, as I'm sure Agent 70 is going to going to grab some art from Mr. Buscema. I'm certain.
I actually have something personal.
Thought you might.
The first sketch in my sketchbook. I don't remember what year this was, but it happened to be on my birthday. It's by Sal Buscema. It is a Green Goblin.
There we go. Okay. Nice.
And I don't remember why I chose the Green Goblin. I actually know Sal Buscema best for his very lengthy run on The Incredible Hulk. He's one of my personal definitive Incredible Hulk artists. But I chose to get the Green Goblin because I always thought his version of the Green Goblin was particularly maniacal. So I wanted to have this be the opening image that you see when you open my sketchbook. So it's pretty, it's a pretty cool image. Shout out to Sal Buscema. He was a great person. He was already a little on the older side when he did this particular sketch, but he was churning them out quickly. He was always known for that. He was definitely very fast when it came to drawing, penciling at least full issues on a tight deadline. So, you've read, you will probably read, or if you've been reading comic book news recently on his passing, you will probably have read many stories that talk about how quick he was to turn around some very tight deadlines. Some stories on very tight deadlines, that is.
Right. Man was a professional. But yeah, this article kind of goes through some of his stuff. There's also another article, the Marvel's tribute to him, that is also in the show notes in the clickbait section, if you can check that out. Yeah, Buscema was the artist on the ROM X-Men crossover that was reissued a couple of years back, of course, amongst a whole bunch of other things. So, yeah, rest in peace to a legend. Let's see. Apparently, he was yeah. So he was born on he was born on January 26, 1936. So he died right before his birthday. That sucks. But he grew up in Brooklyn, the youngest of 4 kids, of a Sicilian barber. Encouraged by his older brother John, to begin drawing, and they both did, and ended up working at worked at Dell Comics, and then going on to Marvel, and rest is history, as they say. But yes, next up.
Reborn Ultimate Impact defines the Ultimate Universe's legacy on Marvel Comics storytelling. So the Ultimate Universe may be coming to an end, but its legacy lives on in Reborn Ultimate Impact. So following the final issue of Ultimate Endgame in April, Reborn Ultimate Impact will reveal the Ultimate Universe's lasting effect on the main Marvel Universe, written by Chris Condon and drawn by Stefano Caselli. The 5-issue limited series spins out of last year's hit Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion series, where the Ultimate Universe collided with the 616 and ended with Miles Morales returning home with mysterious origin boxes, special devices used to create the heroes of the Ultimate Universe. Originally weaponized by the maker to rob characters of their heroic destinies, each origin box holds all that's needed to grant specific power sets to whoever or whomever dares to open it, from the mighty abilities of legendary superheroes to the deadly capabilities of the world's fiercest supervillains.
So somewhat argue, why would he bring it back when the people here already have their powers? But hey, there's a story there somewhere, and I didn't read the books, so I guess maybe I might. But yes, Von Gloom, Brooklyn. That was for Brooklyn. But anyway, I don't know if folks even heard that. Next up, though, we go in a little bit of Toy Corner with Lego's new Mos Eisley Cantina set actually plays music. So I guess you're gonna hear a little bit of do 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 do. So this was announced at CES this past January, that introduced Lego's Smart Play system. According to this article, which sets a course for a future where the brick builds play back with you. Smart Play will be launching on March 1st with a trio of Star Wars sets that include everything you'll need to pump up your Lego collection, including the new and very coveted Smart Brick that powers the new features. Those aren't the only sets, though, as Toy Giant has announced 5 more Star Wars sets, and if I'm not mistaken, a Transformers one, unless that one's already out. But the 5 new sets are all Smart Play compatible rather than all-in-one sets. They come with smart minifigures and smart tags. They do not include the Smart Brick to bring it all to life. So while you can build and play with them, getting your hands on a Smart Brick is needed to bring them to life with lights and sounds. And when it comes to Mos Eisley Cantina, according to this article, with a working Cantina band, you're going to need that brick. So the new sets are available for pre-order again, and available on March 1st, as said. And if you want to, you can check out the article, which goes through the sets that are on offer. And yes, it's the stuff that you'd expect. Next up,
Magic just revealed 9 awesome new Commander Precon decks. That brings the total for the first half of 2026 to 12 decks in total. So this was at the Nuremberg Toy Fair in Germany, and Wizards of the Coast took the opportunity to introduce the world to some of the products that will be available as part of April's Secret of Strixhaven and June's Marvel Superhero sets. Between the two sets, there will be a total of 9 pre-constructed Commander decks. If we add that to Lorwyn Eclipsed's 2 decks and TMNT's 1 due out in March, that's a total of 12 for the first half of 2026. Okay.
That's a lot in a short amount of time, by the way, but that's how Wizards rolls at this point. Just churn them out. But yeah, there's the 4 Marvel Superheroes Commander decks are Avengers Assemble, Wakanda Forever, The Fantastic Four, and Doom Prevails. I'm pretty sure you could gather, what those decks will be about. if not who they're going to be about. But I am looking forward to that Marvel Superheroes set. The Avatar one was great. I hadn't gotten any lore wind stuff yet, and the TMNT stuff and the upcoming Star Trek stuff. I know people are going to be, but whatever. Hey, it is what it is, folks. You're still going to buy it. But next up, speaking of Marvel Superheroes Magic's decks, Magic's Marvel Superheroes leaks make Marvel feel bigger than one set, according to this article. So, in this, I guess, potential spoilers. But, Wizards confirmed early in December previewed that Marvel Superheroes would include multiple Commanders decks, as we just heard. That is true. At the time, Wizards revealed that one would focus on Fantasy Four, and again, we just heard what all of them are going to be focused on, so we don't necessarily need to go through that. So basically just confirming that everything that was just said in that last article was actually true. Haha. Next up.
Alrighty. Awesome poster art for Teenage Mutant. Oh my God. Editors, folks. Editors. Awesome poster art for Now I'm going to read it the way it's written. Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin by artist Hernan Carricero. Hernan Carricero's poster for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin is the kind of artwork that stops you mid-scroll. Well, it must have stopped somebody from typing things out correctly. Created for Bottleneck Gallery, the piece drops the lone turtle into a rain-soaked neon nightmare, blending cyberpunk grit with mournful samurai energy. Okay. Apparently it's sold out, but it's impossible not to share because it looks so damn cool.
Man, it's pretty cool.
I don't know why or where it was sold out because this article is terrible.
But yeah. Well, I probably at this point wouldn't have. I guess you had to click through the bottleneck gallery thing. Yep, and it is indeed sold out on that site. It went for $60. Let's see. Yep. Fine art Geekly,
yeah.
Yeah, on rainbow foil paper. So that's why you got the effect of the other turtles.
Right, that shimmering effect.
Almost lenticular like, yeah. There was apparently a hand-numbered edition of 150, so there you go. So I don't think you're going to be able to find those anymore, but that was a thing. Next up, though, Hasbro reveals new Optimus Prime and Megatron figures inspired by Transformers the movie. So I was weirdly sitting here thinking of quotes that I had already on deck, and now I've lost them. But yes, you can see the Prime figure right there with the with the hole in his gullet. Gun in hand, various poses there. Oh wait, did it actually come with the spike that or the sword that I know it was a beam that he gets ran through with, if I'm not mistaken. But oh yeah, yep, there it is. Oh, there it is. He comes with that in his gun, and they got him in some crazy positions. Truck form. There you go with the implement in the grill. So yeah, if you're watching the video version, you can see me kind of going through these pictures. Here's the Megatron one, which they screwed up because of course it's the wrong Megatron. It's Megatron as a tank. Boo.
Lame.
Megatron in the movie was not a tank. Thank you very much. But they do have the energy sword and the other stuff and a little bit of battle damage for him as well. But it's a goddamn tank. What is wrong with y'all? It's not Transformers the movies. It's goddamn tank. Boo to all of that. But anyway, the Prime looks decent. Both figures are priced at $59.99 and are available for pre-order at Target's website, with limited quantities being made available on Hasbro Pulse later, which I assume later is now. Prime will be released in spring 2026, followed by Megatron in fall 2026. So, and you can find the pre-order links in this article if you are so interested. Next up,
Chinese New Year of the Horse Transformers shopping spree exclusives have been revealed. The official Hasbro Transformers China SNS has announced their Chinese New Year of the Horse Transformers shopping spree events going on between January 31st, 2026 and March 3rd, 2026. In partnership with Sutang Toys, fans who shop at selected stores, take pictures, and buy minimum amounts will be eligible for exclusive Year of the Horse battle card packs, red envelope magnets, and a special limited edition Cybertronian folding suitcase. That's pretty cool to kind of hop on that Lunar New Year bandwagon.
sure, but also something that's probably not coming here. But I'm sure, export if you dare. I'm sure there's a collector that will. Speaking of Transformers, so there are in-hand images for Transformers Timeline Samurai, Optimus Prime, and Starscream 2-pack. You can see it right there. They're like little mini figures, but they still transform or something. Yep. So there you go. So there's Optimus as a samurai with a staff. There's a Starscream. Well, wait, he transforms into a bull. Oh, an ox-ridden cart or ox-driven cart. Let's see. Here's the Starscream. There you go. Kind of looks like air raisin a little bit right there. Also has this. Oh, no, that's thing. I don't see what he transforms into just yet, but there you go. So yeah, some that's the thing if you are so interested in that, but where is that going to be? Don't know. Oh, these figures are sold as a 2-pack and exclusively via Hasbro Pulse. So there you go. If you're interested in that, go check there. Next up,
the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers franchise is finally joining the roster of WizKids' Hero Kliqs franchise, with all the other heroes and characters that have been featured in Hero Kliqs previously. The full lineup includes basically the OG lineup of 7 Hero Kliqs figures. This Power Rangers Hero Kliqs Iconics set includes 7 Hero Kliqs figures and character cards in total, including Jason the Red Ranger, Trini, rest in peace, the Yellow Ranger, Zach the Black Ranger, Billy the Blue Ranger, and Kimberly the Pink Ranger, which you can check out in these up-close photos. Apparently, even though there are no photos yet, the set will also include Tommy the Green Ranger and Rita Repulsa as the set's villain. The set is available for pre-order right now for $59.99 and is expected to release and ship out soon after Q3 of 2026.
I was going to ask, and I know we've had this conversation before, if anyone was still in the Heroes Kliqs or just like collected the figures just for giggles. I'm pretty sure there's.
I mean, I have the OG sets. Right. I know that at the recent Comic Cons that I've gone to, Hero Kliqs have had play test, at their booths. Mm-hmm. Had small play testing at their booths. So, it's they're still chugging away and they're using different properties as excuse me. They were doing Image Comics and some of the I believe the Invincible characters as well.
Makes sense.
So, makes sense that they're finally getting some Power Rangers in there.
Right. So cool. Whoops. K-pop Demon Hunter's toys and merchandise unveiled by Netflix, Mattel, and Hasbro. Again, as we have said previously, of course they are. But yeah, we talked about this a while ago, and now we have, and now we have the goods. So let's see what we got going on here. I believe there were some Barbies in the mix, as those are kind of out there. Let's see. Mattel says starting Tuesday, its American Girl subsidiary is taking pre-orders for the K-pop collection, which includes individual dolls of the film's lead characters, Rumi, Zoe, and Mira. Each doll, the Barbie toy maker said, is inspired by the characters, quote-unquote, on-screen looks and personalities, and featuring premium fabrics, detailed accessories, and stylings that reflect the film's iconic fashion, music, and attitude. I believe that is what I heard about. There's a theme edition of Monopoly that is coming out for it. And let's see, there are Nerf toys modeled after the trio's iconic demon hunting gear. Let's see. So I think that's pretty much that for this article. And yes, this article is using stuff from that earlier article that we talked about, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, there's stuff. If you're watching the video version, you can see some figures, some figures that will be on offer. Last but not least,
Godzilla, the role-playing game. So this is a brand new game, first of its kind. For the first time ever, Toho and IDW are joining forces to bring you a tabletop role-playing adventure set in the world of Godzilla. Join the battle for humanity's survival and fight against criminals, cultists, monsters, and of course the titanic kaiju themselves. It's a brand new system. Let's see. You can test your fate with a deck of cards. In this collaborative RPG, players weave a heroic story by strategically combining abilities, gear, and personality with allies and rivals, driving each other to better bonuses. But beware, the crisis clock is ticking, pushing the world toward disaster, while antagonists evolve using nemesis points to strengthen their forces as you race to thwart them. Okay.
These cards look neat if you're watching the video version, but also I can't help but notice the property of G-Force on the card back of this one. They said this is not follow art, but that's kind of funny given what the other thing we know G-Force from. But yeah, a Godzilla RPG. That's a tabletop RPG to be specific. So I don't know.
With character sheets and cards to kind of help drive the gameplay. So listen, they're doing something. They're doing it a little differently. It looks like. Yeah.
I mean, you got to get something that works. Works with the. You got to have a system that works with the theme, and sometimes not the other way around. So I guess if they made up something that works for Godzilla. Because I'm sitting here like, how would that actually work in a D&D setting? And suddenly Godzilla stops and everybody dies, or something. I don't know. But regardless, I don't know. That it would be interesting to check out the book. Too bad that one site's not around anymore. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, folks, that is it for the news section. I do have a slight bit of off-brand show and tell that I can show like very, very quickly. There we go, and I'll do that here like very, very quickly. Again, this is not necessarily in the realm of what we normally talk about, but hey, I wanted to show it off because I can. So as folks know, De La Soul's latest album is out. Has been out for a minute. Got the CD right there. Finally came in the mail, and also the vinyl for it from Mass Appeal. So there you go. My apologies to my ring lights for getting in the way of that, but it's okay. But yeah, good stuff. And I don't know why I waited so long to actually listen to the album. when it's been out there on Spotify and whatnot since the release. But I wanted to wait till I got my physical copies to do so. Even though I did actually, I've heard like half the songs already because they had already been showcasing them before the album came out. So like I said, half the album I had already heard. It's just a matter of, and I had the Spotify link saved up, so it's just a matter of me just listening to the rest of it, which I did, and good stuff. So thank you, Dave. Not De La Dave.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Plug two.
Nobody else. But
Plug
yes,
two.
Exactly. But yes, folks, that is it. Let us get our one last ad read in, shall we?
Last ad read of the night is for Blue Apron and its meal delivery service. Fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron, always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us, that's cspn.us, then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today.
All right, folks, that's it. We out of here. We will be back next week. We, since we took care of the Wonder Man business this week, that's pretty much it, unless we have something else to say about it or some news that happens from it, which I've already seen it already is. Or if we get some news on season 2 or something like that, or whatever the case may be. Regardless, folks, like I said, next Thursday, all that kind of good jazz. I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. You can also find his here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network, that's cspn.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network. And you can also find us recording every Thursday night, 9:30, closer to 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/TheClickNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, leave us positive 5-star reviews, smash that like button, hit that notification button so you know when we are on live.
And I keep forgetting to mention this. Comic Book Chronicles is on Blue Sky, by the way. So, you can check us out there, follow, like, well, not like, but subscribe, all that kind of good jazz. Usually a lot of the articles that are in the news are put there first. And then I just scrape them from there. So, behind the scenes. But with that, folks, like I said, we will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, new show, all that. This has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
And knowing is half the battle.
I played that earlier.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Oh, you insulting tongue and mock my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron, Mr. Stark?